You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Smirnoff knows there's no I in football. Football is a we thing, an experience that is best enjoyed together with good drinks and good people. Smirnoff is the world's #1 vodka and is an official vodka partner of the NFL. And this year, Smirnoff is giving fans in select areas of the country a chance to win the ultimate game day experience. From tickets to sideline passes and much more, just head to WeDoGameDays.com until November 15, 2024 to enter for your chance to win. That's WeDoGameDays.com. Smirnoff, we do game days.
Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff number 21 vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol by volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Please do not share with anyone under legal drinking age. No purchase necessary. 21 plus. Ends November 15, 2024. See rules at website for participating area and other important details. Sponsored by Diageo Americas Inc., New York, New York.
Football season is here, and there's absolutely nothing better than game day. But it can be a little bit stressful. You're placing bets, you're setting fantasy lineups, you're figuring out the most comfortable position to sit on your couch for the next 12 hours. No one has time to think about this part. Cooking. Well, thanks to DoorDash, you don't have to worry about that. DoorDash is the best place to order all your game day favorites. Chicken wings, nachos, burgers, dogs, hey, maybe even little chips and guac, something like that. Get a little salsa in there. It can all be delivered with DoorDash. So this football season, don't stress about the cooking. Kick back and enjoy game day thanks to DoorDash. DoorDash, your door to more. Download the DoorDash app now to order your game day favorites.
Shadow Show.
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 Shadowing it.
Chris Cody, I'm going to need your help today. We've called in maximum reinforcements here, okay? We've called in Stugotz from Chicago. He's beat up from crushing Chicago and God bless football, crushing Weed Street. And we've got Greg Cody and a Greg Cody Tuesday because we're trying to throw the maximum popular things at our audience that it can only be said was really mad at David Sampson yesterday. It took one day for the audience to get really furious with the things that David Sampson was generally doing. At one point during the show yesterday, I looked into the right corner of what we were doing, and Jeremy and Jessica were not listening to the show, doing the show, participating in the show. They were just talking behind their mouths about David Sampson in a way that giggle snorted and distracted me from doing the show. I've got full-on anarchy going on around here.
Like the way a coach will hold a play sheet over his mouth when he's talking to a player?
Like Andy Reid, yes. It was Jessica, though, that was doing it, except by doing it, she revealed to me that she was saying things that I wanted to hear and thus distracted me from the doing of the show. David Sampson has now just come in from his show that I just walked out on. Nothing personal, every day, 8 a.m. to 8:50 on YouTube. He is back here today, but he is going to be in the Billy Tony region of the shipping container because we need to throw maximum popularity at the audience with Stugotz and Cody.
Could this be a Zion thing where any pub is good pub and that he got the people talking?
That's his job. I mean, to his credit, he got people upset. He made them emotional. That's the job of a talk show host. Good job, David.
He is a polarizing figure, and he comes in. He doesn't care. One of the things that I do admire about him, and there are many that I do admire about him, and I do need his help with business because I cannot be the one who is handling the money for our company without it being a real problem. So his business acumen is extraordinary. But the other thing that he does that I wish we had more of around here, because we got a whole bunch of social media preeners, he does not care who does not like him.
Yep.
Doesn't care at all. It's super unusual. There are not that many people in the media who are willing to do that.
I care.
Everybody does. The media is some of the most sensitive, vain people I've ever met in my life, any walk of life, any profession. David does not care who does not like him. It's something I think our show has desperately needed for a long time. Too much of it yesterday. Way too fucking much of it.
Dial it back.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Today's episode is sponsored by DraftKings. Stay tuned because you'll hear more about DraftKings and all it has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
This is a troubling time in Florida for a number of different reasons and a scary time in Florida. But before we get to what is approaching this way in Florida, which seems a bit cataclysmic, okay? When you're talking about 12 to 15 feet of storm surge, you're talking about things that ocean is going to swallow land and homes in a way that I don't know that we've necessarily even seen in the modern times around here. And so I'm legitimately scared for what it is that's happening in Florida. But as a palate cleanser, let me just go to some John Gruden video to get the mood around here a little lighter after David Sampson created some tension around here yesterday that has some people upset who work for our show, has some people upset who listen to our show. And let me preface everything I'm about to show you with John Gruden with he is guilty of some things that make it hard to generally laugh at him unless he's making funny football videos where he's sweaty and way too passionate about football. And this is the way John Gruden's going to try and get back in the game after being somebody who was the highest paid voice at ESPN when talking about football.
We're going to get to that in a second, but if I can, Dan, if I can start somewhere else, because I noticed something today when I drove in. You're driving a Jeep. You don't give off Jeep. And I just think that needs to be, the room was talking, whose Jeep is that? It's Dan's. And the room was just like, Dan, Jeep. It's just, they weren't doing that connection.
Greg and I had a laugh. I said if I pulled up at a stoplight and I looked over and you were driving a Jeep, that I would laugh at you. Same with a flatbed truck, and I would laugh at David Sampson as well. There is a certain kind of person who should be in a truck, who should be driving a Jeep. You guys are not the guys.
Right. I mean, that's for sure. Dan driving a Jeep, I mean, it's like picturing Dan in the cockpit of an 18-wheeler, doing long-distance deliveries. I just don't see it.
All right. I just need to stop you for just a second. I don't know if Jessica saw this when she walked in, but Greg Cody was prancing around here as he judges me for driving in my wife's Jeep because I'm afraid of the flooding, right? My car will get stuck in water, and so I needed to come in a car that's not going to get stuck in water.
Smart.
Greg Cody's judging me while saying to me, I'm not kidding, hey, Dan, how do these skinny jeans look? They're wildly uncomfortable.
Wait, let me see.
My wife got them for me a while ago, and I'm wearing them for the first time, and they are tight in the crotch area. And
Lift up your shirt.
And so he is...
They look good, Greg. They're not that skinny looking. I mean, they're certainly not, like, tight, right?
Yeah, they feel tight. That's the thing. I don't really care how they look as much as I don't like the tightness on my legs. Plus, it's just, I feel like I'm... 3 generations behind the time. I feel like I'm in Liverpool in 1963.
Wait, okay, now I need to see the cut. So I need to, if you could lift your leg perhaps to my eye level. Are they like a straight, okay.
Ooh. Straight cut?
Honestly, Greg, it's a good look for you. It is
How about
slightly, like we've slightly moved past that style for men's jeans, slightly.
Yeah.
The baggier style is now in. But I think we're going to swing back around in 2025. So you're right on target there.
I'm glad that Jeep belongs to your wife because I was worried for a second that you had like a hurricane car that you like keep just for when there's hurricanes.
Like a Batmobile?
Oh, to be a fly on the wall with Dan and Adam McKay this week. I mean,
let's be very clear. Dan has a very fancy car, and those tend to drive low to the ground.
Yeah.
So he's borrowing a second fancy car, which is much higher. Dan, do you do the Jeep wave with other Jeeps?
I don't. I'm not a Jeep person, but I also don't understand making fun of somebody for being. I don't know what a Jeep person is or isn't.
Outdoorsman. Rugged. A rugged individualist.
Nailed it. Yeah. Kim Camper.
Yeah.
Were you smoking a cigarette?
In my wife's car? Are you kidding me? Like, that is not allowed. No.
As a Jeep person.
I miss my cigars.
He's right, though. Jeep people do give off cigarettes.
Yep.
Put it on the poll, please, at Lebatard
Are we talking
Show.
Wranglers?
Yep.
Do Jeep people give off cigarettes? Because I think you guys are doing more Hummer than Jeep. Like, what are you guys doing with...
No, I mean, Grand Cherokee people don't smoke cigarettes.
That's right.
I don't know what you guys are doing with the Jeep. Like, I'm not four-wheeling, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah,
I'm not going out in the Everglades and really like
off-roading.
Oh, what a visual.
Kicking up mud. but I also don't know what it is that you think is weird about me driving a Jeep.
I can't stand the fact that you do videos while driving the Jeep, especially your wife's car. A, it's irresponsible no matter how high it is. Are you at stoplights when
I was
you do that?
promoting your show. I was promoting nothing personal by breaking the law.
Yeah.
I don't
What about
need
the Greg
favors
Cody
like that.
show?
It's fair. It's a fair question. I mean,
David Sampson and the chemistry of our show and
Right.
people talking over each other. This was something that happened yesterday.
Sure.
You got to keep your eyes on the other room on when it is that people are talking there
Yeah.
so that you're doing the show with them
Sure.
instead of over them.
Yeah. Appreciate that on-air instruction.
Well, I'd appreciate you do your job slightly better so that we don't have chemistry problems like we did yesterday, because the audience turned on us yesterday.
Yeah.
Like they were really mad at everything that happened around here yesterday because David Sampson was poo-pooing everything in sports that was exciting over the weekend.
It is, of course, October.
Yeah, that's what you mentioned again and again. But let's get to this John Gruden video here finally, and let's hope nobody noticed that we were filibustering because all the video went down as we started the show. Let's check in with wait a minute. His hairline makes it so that he looks not like John Gruden. He looks a little bit different than John Gruden while wearing a Chucky T-shirt. Let's look at this for a second because he looks a bit like Freddy Krueger here.
You know, when I was calling plays, I just loved it when our quarterback shredded the defense. I mean, just ripped them. That's what has me feeling really nicey. Like watching Jared Goff go 18 for 18, 292 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Got me feeling nicey.
I couldn't do that pregame warm-up. Oh, Jaden Daniels, just a rookie, 26 out of 30, 87%, 231 yards. He rushes for 47. He's doing everything. Shredded, baby. Oh, C.J. Stroud, 345 yards, brings the Texans back, wins it at the buzzer. Shred him, Stroud. Oh, Baker Mayfield, coming off a tough loss, 345 yards in the hot, humid Tampa Bay weather. Heat them up, Mayfield. Keep shredding them, baby. Woo. Sam Darnold. Who'd have thought the Vikings would be 4-0? 275 yards, 3 touchdowns. Go to Lambeau Field and win again, baby. Keep it rolling, Sam. Shred them.
Holy shit, man.
Feels like he's auditioning for Outkick.
This is how you do football from the fringes of disgrace.
I saw a bunch of people posting this video yesterday, and I scrolled past it every time because I was like, surely there's nothing that I need to see in this. And now that I've seen it, I understand why a lot of people are sharing.
This is how the comeback has to happen. Like this is how he's going to orchestrate his efforts to make a comeback that I don't think it's possible to make.
He's unhireable now for a front office. You don't come back from that. He may be auditioning for a media job, as best as I could tell, but there's no way that a front office, you can't have him as your head.
No, but
because of the TikTok. Yeah.
He's a lunatic.
He's unemployable in general, but if you're going to try and find employment of any kind, this is a way to do it. Just be someone who can be viral in his, what is he? He's in his 70s now, or is he in his 60s? How old is he?
Really?
I don't
he's
know.
70. How old is he?
I'm checking it out right now. I think he's in his 60s, maybe.
61.
So if he's going to get back into the game, the way that you've got to do it is you've got to appeal to the younger demo who doesn't care about what your scandalous past is, as long as you're just doing stuff like that to music.
I'm just like imagining who's the owner that's like, I need that guy. I need that guy. That's the intensity.
I wasn't thinking football job, or I'm sorry, I wasn't thinking a professional coaching job, which might be what he wants. I was thinking media job.
But there has to be an owner, to Chris's point, that's thinking to themselves, how can I spin this and bring Gruden back?
I was being sarcastic. I feel like every owner looks at that and be like, I don't want that guy within 100 feet of my...
Right. He's 100% auditioning for some sort of a low-end media job. I don't think it'll be a huge company. Certainly won't be Meadowlark or ESPN or anything like that. But I think he could eventually get back in. But watching that reminded me, I liked him more when he was canceled. And I'll be honest with you, it reminded me how little I missed John Gruden. I don't feel like I need that. Like, what's he doing? With the Chucky face and everything. It's just
right.
No.
Oh God, I think Billy just booked him for God Bless Football.
He's wildly entertaining. What do you mean? You didn't think that was better than what Rex Ryan is giving you on Monday mornings?
I don't need that. No, I don't.
So who's doing it in a way right now that you do need?
I don't need to be entertained in that way. Like, I would rather have serious football analysis. I don't need him reading stats of 5 different quarterbacks and going, shred them. That's not bringing anything to a table.
That was my favorite part.
It's bringing a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
Who's doing it in a way that you need? Give me the media members. I would like to know. Greg Cody is tuning in to get football acumen delivered in an entertaining fashion from whom?
I like I like Diana Rossini. I like Mina Kimes. I like people who can be amusing but mostly informative. I just don't need that kind of a cartoon presentation of a guy screaming, shred 'em. I just don't need that. That's just me. Maybe some people love that, and I have no animus against John Gruden. If he can get back, reinvent himself, and get back into the media on some level, more power to him.
Watching your panic, Greg, made me smile. Did you look at the name on our sheet to come up with Diana Rossini, or was that in your head?
That was in my head.
It's just a coincidence.
It says Diana Rossini right in front of you. It's
so.
the piece of paper that's in front of you.
Luckily, it was there.
I don't know who you would have said if not. You were Steve
Mina
Carell's.
Kimes is not on a piece of paper.
You
I
were
said her
Steve
name.
Steve Carell's character in Anchorman. You just saw a lamp and said lamp. Like, you just saw her name on that sheet. You didn't have anybody you were going to.
Okay, so Diana Rossini, who's on this show every Tuesday when I'm in talking about NFL football, you think I needed a sheet of paper to remind me that Diana Rossini has good intel and a brand new podcast, which is great. It's no Greg Cody Show podcast, but it's really good. Scoop City is
You're
called.
still reading from the paper.
Well, because I'd forgotten the name of the podcast, Scoop City.
I'm wondering if my dad could pull off the John Gruden stuff. Like, if I give you a bed of music right now, can you start just breaking down NFL quarterbacks the way he did?
I would, if I were being a cartoon. Okay, if I were being a caricature, I would do exactly what he's doing, which is just simply reading stats. Baker Mayfield tearing up Tampa Bay, 38 for 45. Shred 'em! And then I'd have to...
Oh, I love it. Keep going.
That's pretty good.
Oh, the clicks you would get.
Pretty good.
Kirk Cousins of Atlanta.
Find your camera.
Kirk Cousins of Atlanta, 38 for 49 for 308 yards. Shred 'em!
Yeah. You should get the stats right, though. You should get
who cares?
509 yards.
The
It's
face
good.
is the most important.
You know what? Let's start over.
The shred 'em.
Let's
Right.
Let's see if Greg. Your face is very good.
Yeah.
Do you want to get some stats together to see if we can do this
I
accurately?
feel like if
instead
I
of-
make up stats, they're better than the real thing.
He was only 200 yards short on Kirk Cousins.
They're not better than the real thing because you were 200 yards short
Right.
on how Kirk Cousins shredded them.
Right.
Like, if you'd gone 700 yards, that would have been a good way to be
Right.
200 off.
That's
but,
fair.
But making him less good than he was, less of a shredder, makes
Yeah.
it less good than it could have been.
Right, that's fair.
Let's watch the Gruden video one more time just to get the wheels turning for Greg Cody.
All right,
okay?
and Greg, please feel free in the moment to look up some stats that you want to use on whoever you want to be your weekly shredders. They can
Okay.
be anybody. They don't have to be quarterbacks. Just you will have all the time that Gruden is working here to come up with whatever your impersonation is as your son helps you with the music. Let's check in again. You're with me. You guys are with me on the way that Gruden's hairline is working here makes him look not like the John Gruden you remember, and also more like Freddy Krueger than John Gruden. Do I have this wrong? Because he looks like somebody I can't place. He doesn't look like John Gruden. Go ahead.
You know, when I was calling plays, I just loved it when our quarterback shredded the defense. I mean, just ripped them. That's what has me feeling really nicey. Like watching Jared Goff go 18 for 18, 292 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Got me feeling icy.
I couldn't do that pregame warm-up. Ho! Jaden Daniels, just a rookie, 26 out of 30, 87%, 231 yards. He rushes for 47. He's doing everything. Shredded, baby. Ho! C.J. Stroud, 345 yards. Brings the Texans back. Wins it at the buzzer. Shred 'em, Stroud. Baker Mayfield coming off a tough loss. 345 yards in the hot, humid Tampa Bay weather. Heat 'em up, Mayfield. Keep shredding 'em, baby. Who? Sam Darnold. Who'd have thought the Vikings would be 4-0? 275 yards, 3 touchdowns. Go to Lambeau Field and win again, baby. Keep it rolling, Sam. Shred 'em.
Greg, I want to understand if what just happened is what I think just happened, which is the shipping container rose up to try and help you here during that segment by saying, and I can hear some of what they were saying, hey, write some phrases down. Do you want to look up some quarterbacks? He shook everyone off like he's Garrett Cole. Like he is someone who throws 100 miles an hour, and he's got this down. He's Mutombo. He's ready to do this. He doesn't need any production help. He's ready to go. Let's go. Play the music. Greg Cody does not need any production assistance.
You know what gets me feeling it? Watching Josh Allen go 9 for 30 for 131 yards and a huge monumental loss. That's what gets me feeling it. Shred it! Who?
So one, that's all you had planned?
So you had one plan.
That was really good.
Yeah, he nailed it.
You guys are being haters. Look at, he's got the face down. He looks exactly like him.
But you didn't need any production.
And it was funny too because he gave a bad stat line.
Right,
I gave a bad stat line, exactly. I mean,
you guys
that's
don't
the beauty of it.
recognize and appreciate a true artiste in his prime.
It's a good bit. Maybe have a couple of them to go to.
5 would have worked.
Bad quarterbacks.
Yes, if you have one good one, 5 would be better.
One works. One works.
I know. Restraint and moderation are always those are key principles that Greg Cody has always lived by.
Are.
You have to leave people wanting more, not saying that was dragged out way too long.
Just gets me. You know, I need one example. I'm the anti-Gruden. He's doing the predictable stuff, lauding the quarterbacks who had good games. I'm lauding the so-called best quarterback in the league, or second best, who had an epic bad game. In the era of short passes and guys in the NFL are actually going 38 for 46 and stuff like that. The best quarterback in the league is 9 for 30. That's almost unheard of. Check that out. Who?
Oh, wow.
Greg, do you know where your camera is?
No.
Can we teach him?
He's
or
looking
not?
all over the place. He doesn't know what camera to look at.
He doesn't need to know that.
The Gruden face, though, slaps.
I'm with you. He does the Gruden face better than Gruden.
But you can't go Josh Allen and then say shred it because he didn't shred anything. You have to come up with a different closeout line.
Well, the game is shredding Josh Allen.
That was the joke that he was doing. I would have liked, hey, did you see that Andy Dalton was 7 for 8 for 15 yards at the 2-minute warning yesterday? Shred him. Like, I would have liked 5 or 6 of those stats and jokes, but Greg waved us off 4 seconds into what was a 50-second bit because he had his joke, and he didn't need any more jokes.
Thank you.
He had the one.
Yes, thank you.
He's also improvising here, Dan. I mean, I commend Greg.
Bravo.
10 out of 10 for effort. 10 out of 10 for substance. 10 out of 10 for being you, Greg.
I tell you, it just gets me. I wish more people on this show did.
Billy's seat is empty. Somebody's got to do it today. It's kind of the formula for everything that we do around here.
It's not formulaic. I think it was genuine.
It was. What are you talking about, Dan?
I thought for sure when Dan asked you, who do you want your football knowledge from, you would say Billy Gill, since he always supports you.
Yeah.
You know, right?
I fed him that. Been written down, I would have probably said
I fed him that line, too. He ignored that one as well.
Well, you're feeding me too many lines. I'm getting indigestion from all you're feeding me.
You're full?
Look at you at Tums.
I mean, yakety yak in my ear here. Trying to concentrate and do a job. You know, it's ridiculous.
Hey folks, it's Mike Ryan, and as you know, it is football season. We all love it. We like going to the games too. Well, if you like going to the games like I do, if you like traveling for football games, both pro and college, do yourself a favor and download the Game Time app. Game Time has a new exciting feature called Game Time Picks. and it makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Do it for yourself. Pick an upcoming game on the app, browse through the seats. I guarantee you'll find great deals, you'll find panoramic seat views, you'll find all-in pricing with just one click. That way you're not surprised by the final price, and also you get Game Time's ticket coverage and the low price guarantee. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DAN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DAN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time.
Football season is here, and there's absolutely nothing better than game day. But it can be a little bit stressful. You're placing bets, you're setting fantasy lineups, you're figuring out the most comfortable position to sit on your couch for the next 12 hours. No one has time to think about this part. Cooking. Well, thanks to DoorDash, you don't have to worry about that. DoorDash is the best place to order all your game day favorites. Chicken wings, nachos, burgers, dogs, hey, maybe even a little chips and guac, something like that. Get a little salsa in there. It can all be delivered with DoorDash. So this football season, don't stress about the cooking. Kick back and enjoy game day thanks to DoorDash. DoorDash, your door to more. Download the DoorDash app now to order your game day favorites.
This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, to check you have the tickets in your wallet first before you drive 2 hours to the big game. Seriously, you had one job. Now the closest you'll get to the 50-yard line is parking lot D. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
Dan Batard.
You have some hot takes today. Joe Chestnut's a fraud.
He's on fire.
He called Connor McDavid overrated before the show.
What the hell was that, Greg?
Yeah, no,
I love it.
Stugotz.
Roy, let me explain it to you. And not that you know more about hockey.
And this
than
is
I do.
coming from a guy that's watched Connor play 6 times.
Right.
If that.
This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz.
So yesterday on the show, David Sampson got a poor reaction. And David, how did you react to that reaction? You don't tend to care very much when people are agitated by you. It's a great strength of yours.
I was working on today's show. The show goes on. I don't react. You are the king of the Twitter reaction. When someone tweets something good or someone tweets something bad, you assume that is how everyone is viewing it in that prism. I don't get caught like that, only because it's been so many years of both negative and some positive press. I just don't pay attention to any of it.
I understand, except it was happening inside of our building and in the shipping container. It was not Twitter I was reacting to. It was our employees talking behind hidden hands about you while I was doing the show in a way that distracted me.
That was unacceptable, and it was disappointing because we're supposed to be on a team, and I've never felt less a part of a team than I did yesterday.
Wow. How about that?
Wait, what are we talking about?
Yesterday.
Lewis?
We're talking about, well, that was another room. That wasn't even this room. That was the other room that was objecting in general to what it is that David Sampson was doing around here. A very polarizing figure.
Well, can I ask for a quick primer on what it is that he said that's so controversial? Because I'll be honest with you, super busy yesterday, didn't get a chance to listen to the show. I apologize. And maybe other listeners aren't quite sure what the controversy was surrounding Sampson over there. So can you brief me?
We were talking about the University of Miami comeback for a long time in the local hour, and he objected to us talking about it that long and said it's just a game in October. It's not a championship game. And he did that a few different times when we were talking about Alabama Vanderbilt and some of the things that happened over the course of the weekend that, if you're a sports fan, are things one would get excited about. And so people objected to his objections, I would say. Now, in-house, I don't know. I believe that what was relayed to me, I don't know how accurate this was, but when Jeremy and Jessica were in a corner covering their mouths talking to each other, and I asked them, what do you guys talking about. They said that Lewis in the video room said of Samson, this guy bleeping sucks. I believe I'm quoting that correctly.
Yeah, SpongeBob reference, but yes, that's accurate.
The cover-up is always worse than the crime. Because Lewis was so quick to tell me, and so were you guys, that it was SpongeBob. That seems not worthy of covering your mouth over.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks! That's the reference.
Okay. I side with Samson. I disagree with him. I think some of these results we saw, whether it's coming from 25 down to win at Cal or Alabama losing, I think it was a fantastic weekend for sports. But if somebody wants to have an alternate opinion and note that it's early in the season and Alabama's still going to be in the playoffs and still has a chance to win the championship, there's a point to be made there, too.
I think David was okay with the topics. I think he was saying they were going on too long. Is that accurate?
It seemed insufferable to me to go 53 minutes on a topic, and I'm just sensitive to it when it comes to nothing personal, where you have to get to other topics. There's so much to get to. We have 53 pages of notes we get each day, and we stayed on one thing for so long that it made me insane.
But no one knows the audience better than Dan, and if he thinks we should stay with something for 53 minutes, I give him the benefit of the doubt, right? It's his show?
It is his show, Stu.
Yeah.
And that doesn't stop you from behaving the way you behave, though.
Well, I have to do that, I mean.
Okay.
But when I do it, it's fun and funny. I mean, no one's sitting there going, hey, talking with things over their mouth so you can't hear them. No one's criticizing me. They love me. I mean, that's the way it is.
It is true. They do love Stugotz, as was proven yet again in Chicago. God bless football, ransacked Chicago. What stories do you come back with as you, Billy and Tony, everyone, the sponsor, DraftKings, the bar, everyone was thrilled that you got your hands on people. I was told that this set a record in the podcast sphere for fans giving you actual weed.
Oh, yeah. Weed Street, when in Rome, Dan. It was a great time in Chicago. Joe's on weed. Smirnoff, thank you to them for sponsoring the entire event. I have seen recently, when we do these events, a Billy Gill I have never seen. That was the highlight for me. Tony was great. He was confident. He's always great. He's always confident. But Billy Gill has grew up with this show. And to see Billy just, parading around the stage and entertaining 1,000 people in Chicago was a delight for me to see. And thank you to all the people who came out, Dan. I am telling you, you need to come to one of these because people line up and they're handing me letters thanking us for getting them through some of the most difficult times in their lives. And it was really flattering. We had a blast. It was great to see Billy in that element. So
I do come to those. We do Moss events. And
I want you to come to one that's outside of South Florida, travel this great country of ours, okay? And let's go talk to some of the fans who appreciate what you have done for them for 20 years.
You guys, and I do value our fans, but the last time we did that in Vegas, I spent 6 hours after our show shaking the hands of those people because they're our customers and because I appreciate how I can't tell you. David and I were just talking about this on Nothing Personal because I find hugely interesting what the political candidates are doing and the spots that they are choosing to do their interviews on All the Smoke, on Call Her Daddy. They're going to places you wouldn't normally associate with political candidates because they're trying to get at new media and new audiences and new demographics. And our audience, as shown by Smirnoff and DraftKings, is a hugely valuable audience to people. And so I do value what it is that you are doing when you mingle with thousands of people who are in Chicago, not to see football, but to see God bless football. Because what happened, Jeremy? You're counting the number of people, and it doesn't look like thousands of people.
Well, no, it couldn't be thousands because we sold 1,000 tickets, and so
exactly 1,000.
It was sold out. Yeah, that room was sold out. The restaurant was happy. Smirnoff was happy. DraftKings was happy, and me, Billy, and Tony were happy. Tony did a tremendous job. He really did. There were times where, I kind of phased out because I'm watching the games and I have a big bet and I wasn't paying attention because that's what I tend to do. And Tony held it down for me because every time a ball was snapped, I would win or lose money. So,
who announced your attendance? Samson?
Yes.
Very nice.
So how many?
Only 5 paid.
How many do you guys have there? What do you guys have? What do you guys have as a number as you question the audience at God Bless Football in Chicago?
It looks to me like a large restaurant area completely full. Like, you said you started with thousands and it went to 1,000, and we're making our way down.
I'm the one who brought it down, by the way.
It looked completely full, the place. I will say that.
2 in a queue.
Huh.
I think we can all agree on 1,000 people.
Louis, I just texted you a photo of Tony that proves what Stugotz is saying, that in general, Tony is always confident, probably unreasonably confident, because I want to put that photo up that I just sent you, Louis, in a second so that you guys can tell me what you think of this as a look for Tony, because what he did, I thought, was aggressively Tony. But Greg, before we do that, I want to play for you some sound of proof that we believe that we have of you discovering that Diana Rossini was on the show today when you were looking for all the people in media whose work that you enjoy.
Okay.
When you looked down at a sheet of paper that had the name Diana Rossini in front of you.
I like Diana Rossini.
That is investigative.
Hear you looking.
Look, just again, in case you want some more proof that you didn't actually have a name at the tip of your tongue.
I like Diana Rossini. Okay, all right. Okay, I'm going to confess something, and whether you whether you believe me or not, I don't give a shit. Okay,
like it.
Sometimes I think, is it Diane or is it Diana?
Come on.
No, that's the God's truth. Okay, I don't want to disrespect anyone by misstating their first name, and it is Diana, but occasionally I think Diane first. So yes, I checked the sheet. I'm sorry, what a felony I committed! Oh my God!
What if the sheet wasn't there though?
I like Diana Rossini. Yeah, if the sheet wasn't there, I'd have probably said I like Rossini and Kimes. Yeah, they're fine.
Diana's in 40 font in front of you, Greg. It's 40 font.
Is it exactly 40?
It's big. I can see it from over here, and I'm not wearing my glasses.
I feel like it's more like 24 fonts.
It's pretty big. I can't read any of the other words on that sheet of paper other than Diana Rossini. They're the only words I can see from over here.
Plus it's underlined. It should be italicized. I think that would really make it jump.
Yeah.
So,
anyway, she's great.
So the one person in media whose work you admire is not a name that you actually know off the top of your head. You have to check a piece of paper to make sure you have the name right.
Well, I mentioned Mina Kimes as well.
Right.
Because they're in sharp contrast to the ghost of John Gruden trying to resurrect himself. They give serious information, but they do it in an entertaining way. They're not clowning. They're not just making up stuff and making faces and everything. So
I want to get to Greg Cody as the longtime columnist for the Miami Herald. I want to get to his thoughts on the Dolphin victory this weekend. But before I do that, because we're going to probably have skeletal crews the next couple of days, and because genuine horror is coming to Florida in the shape of this hurricane that, again, I will tell you that 12 to 15-foot storm surge is just not something I have seen in modern times. And John Morales, the longtime meteorologist, because he knows what it is that we've done to the earth, because he knows how compromised we are by the corruption of the oil companies, John Morales is going to be on with us later. But he just broke down while he is watching what is moving toward Tampa and is going to cause billions of dollars in damage, and everyone better get out of there, because anyone who doesn't get out of there is simply going to die, because the evacuation of this area is something that people must adhere to. So anyone listening to me who might not know how serious something is that's coming to Tampa Bay, you must know that this is the worst kind of life-threatening that a natural disaster can be. And here's John Morales, longtime meteorologist, looking at what's in front of him and not able to keep the emotion out of, oh my God, what is coming to the Tampa Bay area.
It's just an incredible, incredible, incredible hurricane. It has dropped It has dropped 50 millibars in 10 hours. I apologize. This is just horrific. The seas are just so incredibly, incredibly hot. Record hot, as you might imagine. You know what's driving that. I don't need to tell you. Global warming, climate change, leading to this and becoming an increasing threat.
So, Stugotz, I know that you and others around here make fun of me and Adam McKay. Adam McKay seems like he's gone off the deep end to people. He used his art to say, hey, don't look up. Money has compromised everything. The world is ending. That's the movie he tried to make. And since then, he's just kind of left the disintegrating Hollywood because Hollywood no longer even exists. It's like 3 companies that are going to gobble up all of Hollywood with their hedge funds. And he's working on just screaming at people, hey, if we don't reverse this now, this is already the new normal. And when this comes to a city that is near you, you're going to lose a lot of things that you love. So here is the mayor of Tampa warning everybody about what's coming this way because it's a new normal. And the forecasters, when he cries, Stugotz, on the air there, it's because he knows that the way that the pressure dropping on that is happening is worse than anything forecasters have ever imagined or seen, and they don't know what to do with what's coming because the airplanes that are flying into this are coming back with information that is more horrifying than anything that climate scientists have ever seen.
One message to Tampa residents tonight.
The number one message, as it has been for several days now, is that you need to prepare, do whatever you need to do, and then get out of the evacuation zones, which now are evacuation zone A and B. And as we all have heard so many times now, you hide from the wind and run from the water. And we are talking about right now the possibility of a direct hit with 10 to 12-foot tidal surge.
What would you say to people tonight who are saying, you know what, I'm going to ride this out, I've ridden others out? What would you say to people who aren't heeding those evacuation orders?
Well, I can tell you right now that they may have done that in others. There's never been one like this. And this, Helene was a wake-up call. This is literally catastrophic. And I can say without any dramatization whatsoever, if you choose to stay in one of those evacuation areas, you're going to die.
Wow. I mean, that is an incredibly blunt message.
That's how she has to say it because they're asking people to evacuate. And I know people know what 12 to 15 feet is, but it's the ocean, 2 Shaqs of ocean, 2 Shaquille O'Neals of ocean just coming and grabbing up the first floor of wherever it is that you live. If you live on the second floor, you may be okay, but it's going to grab everything that's on the first floor.
Morales gets emotional because he knows what's going to happen to that area. The mayor has to be that blunt. To your point, you're right. You have to be that blunt because in Florida, it's hard to get consensus when everyone believes what the weather people are telling them because we've been through so many storms. The mayor was uncommonly blunt there because people need to leave. You need to leave. This storm, you need to get out of town. Go find somewhere with your family. Be safe, have air conditioning, have electricity, see what happens. But to her point, if you stay, she's telling you, you're going to die. And she has to say that. Otherwise, people will stay.
And Category 5 is the worst that a hurricane gets. You can envision a day when they're going to need another number, a Category 6, because the worst of the hurricanes is only going to get worse over time, the way this climate
The
thing
way
is
this has jumped over the last 5 days, because I've been watching it, it was at 90, at 90, at 90, and then it's 175. What I'm telling you is that even the experts don't understand how fast these things are happening.
When I say something like this yesterday, you want to know what bothers me? I say the same thing. You have to get out. And I get criticized by Izzy on one side, by Jessica, by you all, by everybody saying that I'm an unfeeling prick. And I just don't follow it exactly because we just heard the mayor say it. So what exactly are we saying that no, you can't evacuate, we're trying to protect our home that is our home? Or are we saying you have to evacuate or else you're going to die? Which one is it?
No, no one called you that, but you did say you don't feel bad for people that die because they don't evacuate. That's a
And called him
You're
stupid.
sort of changing what happened.
You said it's not. You don't excuse anyone who dies because they did not evacuate.
I don't excuse people who die hang gliding.
Okay.
I mean, he's consistent.
Okay. All right. Congratulations on being an unfeeling prick consistently.
Hey folks, it's Mike. From defending your favorite team after a bad loss to obsessively checking your fantasy lineups, football fandom is bigger than just Sundays. Miller Lite knows the passion that comes with rooting for your team. Like the debate that sparked in 1975. Great taste versus less filling. So, what is the best thing about the original light beer? Let it be both. Yeah, let it be both. The fact that it has great taste and is also less filling. You don't have to pick your favorite because Miller Lite keeps it simple. Undebatable quality, great taste at only 96 calories. It's a beer that strips away everything that you don't need and holds on to what matters most. The original light beer since 1975. Make your game time taste like Miller time. Tastes great and is less filling. Let it be both. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/Dan. Or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer.